The morning bell rang at Brookville High like any other day, echoing through the polished halls and bouncing off the lockers like a warning shot. Students shuffled in, their chatter a dull roar. For most, it was just another Monday. But for 15-year-old Isla Monroe, it felt like walking through a minefield. She kept her head low, her hair falling like a curtain over her pale face, her shoulders hunched as if she could make herself invisible. Isla had always been shy, the kind of girl who blended into the background, unnoticed and unheard. She wasn't unpopular, she was something worse. She was invisible. And in a high school run by a trio of egotistical, social-climbing bullies, being invisible made you an easy target. They called themselves the Kings, Troy, Zane, and Connor. Football stars. Local heroes. And absolute monsters behind closed doors. To them, bullying wasn't just a pastime, it was a performance. They bullied to be seen. To show off. To remind the entire school who ruled the halls. Isla had made the mistake of correcting Troy's grammar in English class the week before. It was a quiet whisper to herself, barely audible, but enough for Troy's bruised ego to ignite like dry tinder. "You think you're smarter than me, freak," he spat, smirking as the classroom chuckled. Maybe we should fix that. Since then, they'd taken an interest in her. Slamming her locker shut as she opened it. Tripping her in the hallway. Snatching her books and tossing them across the floor. Most students looked away, too scared or too numb to intervene. But this morning would be different. As Isla walked to her locker, eyes downcast, she didn't notice Zane and Connor flanking her from behind. Troy approached from the front, an evil grin stretching across his smug face. "Hey, brainiac," Troy sneered. "We're not done with you." Before Isla could speak, they grabbed her arms. One on each side. "What, let me go," she cried, panic rising in her chest. But her voice was barely a whisper, drowned by the morning crowd. No one stopped. No one questioned. No one helped. They dragged her down the side corridor, the one that led to the old East Wing, the part of the school no longer in use. Past rusted lockers and flickering lights, down the hallway that led to a bathroom no one visited anymore. A dead zone. "No cameras here," Zane smirked. "You'll learn to keep that little brain of yours to yourself," Connor added, shoving open the creaky bathroom door and pushing Isla inside. Her backpack hit the floor with a thud. They circled her, blocking the exit. "You think you're better than us, huh?" Troy barked, getting in her face. Isla's heart thundered. She tried to scream, but no sound came. Panic strangled her lungs. Then, boom. A deafening crash echoed through the wall. The bathroom vibrated as if a bomb had gone off nearby. A second later, a series of sharp, precise gunshot sounds rang out. But they weren't real bullets. They were blanks. Nearby, just across the gymnasium's stone wall, unbeknownst to anyone at the school, SWAT Team Bravo 6 was conducting a tactical drill in the abandoned part of the school's underground facility. And leading that drill was Captain Elijah Monroe, Isla's dad. Elijah's eyes were sharp, scanning his team as they practiced breaching and clearing the simulated hostage rescue scenario. He was known as one of the toughest SWAT leaders in the country, a decorated hero with medals for bravery, tactical excellence, and service beyond the call of duty. But to Isla, he was just dad. When Elijah received clearance for a SWAT training mission in the abandoned part of Brookville High over the summer, he requested it intentionally. Quietly. Secretly. He wanted to be close. He knew his daughter struggled in school. Her silence. Her loneliness. He didn't know the full extent of her suffering, yet. Then came a sound in his comms. A whisper. A scream. Muffled. High-pitched. Distant. Elijah, his second-in-command, said. "Someone's screaming on the top floor. Bathroom corridor." Elijah froze. The sound was faint, but he knew that voice. A father's instinct doesn't lie. "Pause the drill," he ordered. "Bravo 6, move to grid echo 4. Breach prep in 30 seconds." He dropped his training rifle and picked up his real sidearm. His face changed. The training mask came off. In its place was something colder. Fiercer. His daughter was in trouble. And nothing on earth was going to stop him. In the bathroom, Troy had just raised his hand when the door exploded off its hinges, sending splinters flying. Brookville SWAT. Get on the ground, now. Isla screamed and fell backward. The three bullies froze, terror in their eyes, as four masked, armored men stormed the bathroom with guns drawn, lasers dancing across the tiled walls. Troy tried to run. Zane held up his hands. Connor burst into tears. And behind them, stepped Elijah Monroe. He didn't need to shout. He didn't need to threaten. One look at his eyes, and they all crumbled like dry leaves. Get away from my daughter. Troy whimpered. We were just joking, sir. Elijah moved so fast Troy didn't even see the handcuffs before they were on his wrists. Outside the bathroom, a dozen teachers and the principal arrived in a frenzy, alerted by the commotion. The crowd parted as Elijah carried Isla out, gently cradling her in his arms. She clung to him, tears soaking his vest. It's over, he whispered. And it was. For the bullies, for the school's toxic silence, everything changed that day. But this was only the beginning.